Hi everyone, Amy here with Amy's Wares, and today I'm going to make a couple easy die cut winter thank you cards. So here are the products that I'm using. This is a new snowflake die set that I recently acquired from scrapbook.com. Have some inexpensive holographic paper, and here is the photo of the finished cards. Now these came together really quickly. They're very simple in design, but they are not lacking in the wow factor. I am so in love with these dies and I'm so glad I got them. So you may have seen them on a recent haul order from scrapbook.com, but these are very big dies. I was a little bit surprised. I mean, I read the dimensions when I bought it, but they're just very big and I really love it for a focal point on a card. I had somebody comment on the haul video actually that they use this instead of a bow on their Christmas packages, and I thought that was genius. But so many ways to use something like this, and you know, it's after the holidays now technically, but you know, I do need to send out some thank you cards, so this is perfect to pull together a really pretty design for thank you cards for all the lovely gifts that I received. So that one I decided to leave the innards in it because I thought it was kind of a cool design as is, and it did kind of stay put, so I decided to just kind of leave those in there. But I'm using my little picky tool and kind of popping out the little bits and bobs from the inside of these dies. Now I was shocked at how well this cut. I didn't use a shim. I did run it through, you know, there and back, so technically twice, but I didn't have any issues with it cutting all the way through. And that holographic paper is not thin. It's from Joann, I believe, so it's not expensive, but it's also pretty thick and heavy duty. So I was a little surprised that it worked with all that detail and not needing a shim. So they're definitely high quality dies, and it was a really good price point from scrapbook.com. I was surprised at how affordably priced that set was, so I jumped on it. But I did cut these panels down with a really cool rectangle die from LDRS Creative. That's a small business in Michigan, if you're not familiar. I will link all the products that I used that are available in the video description box below, but I'm just going to use some adhesive and attach these blue cardstock panels down directly to these card bases, and these are 110-pound Neenah Classic Crest Solar White. This one I didn't kind of go on very straight, so I was kind of trying to wiggle it back into the correct placement on the front of the card. But here I'm flipping through my sentiment book. I don't end up putting a sentiment on the front. I was kind of trying to see if I had anything that would work to put a thanks on the front, but I did end up, as you saw in the design, leaving the front just to the beautiful snowflakes, and then I will put a sentiment on the inside of the card. But here's my storage solution for my standalone die cuts. I do have a separate book, which you'll see that I actually store all of my strips now because I kind of outgrew that book. So here I'm going to use this micro dots sheet. This is Artist Tack. I get it from Amazon, and I'm going to use that to attach all of these holographic snowflakes to the front of my card bases. So you can absolutely use liquid glue or whatever, you know, adhesive you prefer, but I tend to get a little frustrated and get a little crazy and use too much liquid glue and then have oozage. So I love these micro dots. They are absolutely a game changer for me. If you pull it up and don't have kind of good coverage, maybe just slap it down in a different spot on the sheet. But what it does is it puts a ton of little tiny micro glue dots all over the back of it, and it's worked out really well for me. It's not foolproof. Every once in a while you'll get some dots on the front of your cardstock, but I've found either if it's regular cardstock, I can use my adhesive eraser and it'll come right off. Or if it's a metallic surface like this, I can actually use a Q-tip with a little bit of rubbing alcohol and get it off that way. But overall, it's still worth it, in my opinion, just because I struggle a lot with liquid glue. If you don't, then good on you. You're good to go with your liquid glue. But if you're like me and struggle with it, then you might want to consider these micro dots. And I will link them in the video description box below, as well as the other products. So here is the other sentiment book I was telling you about. These strips are all from LDRS Creative. I have several. You basically stamp it in one go and die cut it in one go, and then they also added these really cool shadow layer dies to the lineup, so you can kind of put a nice little outline of color or pop behind your sentiment strip. So just kind of flipping through and seeing, I think I pulled them both maybe from the thank you stamp, but actually I may have actually pulled them from a couple different stamps in their lineup. But here is the the strips that I made with the shadow die, and it's the same blue cardstock that I used on the panel, so it was a perfect fit. You just find the one that's just slightly smaller than the sentiment strip that you're using, and then attach those together, and then you have that beautiful little outline to help your sentiment kind of pop off of your card. So here I'm just figuring out which one is the correct size to go with this strip, and then I'll pop the others back in their little pocket in their baseball card pocket protector sheet. So I'm just going to set that aside and attach these together, and then that's ultimately what I'm going to put on the inside of the card. So I added a little bit of iridescent sequins for blingage and the sentiment on the inside. So very simple in design, but lots of nice little features. That's my little stamp on the back. It's a custom stamp that I got from a company called Chatty Press on Etsy, but I don't believe they're in business anymore. So if you're wanting a custom stamp, there are tons of small businesses on Etsy. If you want to check them out, just Google custom stamp or something like that and you'll find loads. But anyway, thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope you enjoyed these cards. If you did, please hit the thumbs up, and I will catch you next time. Bye.